Okay, how to study. I'm going to be making an important distinction here between studying and learning. This one will be how to study, and the next video will be how to learn. These are two different activities because the word study, now it means something very predictable and practical. It didn't used to mean this. I mean, if like Socrates was in his study, don't disturb that guy. I wouldn't disturb him. He's doing some serious work in there. But nowadays, due to the education system, this word has basically become, it means to prepare for a test, to prepare for a time and place in which you are going to be examined on your knowledge and understanding. So as this word has become a practical word, a practical activity, I will give you a practical solution on how to best effectively study. So number one is you need to find your focus time. How long can you actually focus for? This will differ from person to person, but it might be 15 minutes, it might be 1 hour, but we are hyper-focusing when we're studying. We're studying, so that's what we're doing. And so we need to be just focused on that. And so to do that, we need to find your sort of focus time. Before you start to mentally tire, you'll feel it. You'll start to mentally tire and you'll start to lose focus. So you need to figure out what that is, find it, and then you can set study sessions with that time limit. Number two is remove distractions. There's many things that can distract you nowadays, but you need to remove all distractions and just have what you're doing, which is studying, the content you're studying or the exam you're studying or whatever you're doing. You just focused on that. We are hyper-focusing here. And so we don't want things distracting us. One focused hour is better than 6 unfocused kind of half-hour studying hours. So this might mean literally you put your phone on the other side of your room if you have to. You want to remove distractions because there's so many things that can distract you these days. Number three is take breaks. It's very important that you take breaks. Studying, if done correctly, can be tiring, can be draining, and so it's important that you take breaks. I'd recommend that you do something you actually enjoy, sort of revitalize your spirit. And I wouldn't make the breaks too long, but taking a break is important between these focused study sessions. Number four is stick to the time that you've set out. If you said you're going to study for an hour, study for an hour. Your mind will come up with many excuses, BS. It'll be chirping away, telling you, you've done enough or whatever. If you said it, you do an hour or an hour and a half, you do an hour or an hour and a half, you do it. That's why it's important that we set the reasonable study periods. So what I said in the first step, we make reasonable study periods for ourselves. We don't want to be over ambitious here. If you set 5 hours of focused study, it's unlikely that's going to happen. So be reasonable. And finally, my whole channel is kind of based on this, but study the test as well as the content. Studying is preparing for an examination. So you're preparing to be examined. So you must study how you're going to be examined. This will also allow you to be more comfortable when you're being examined because you have experience with how you're being examined. So it's basically the whole point and the existence of my channel is we study the exam just as much as we study the content. So you should find a balance between these two, but make sure you study the exam also as well as the content, because then you'll do better in it. So that's it. So not super specific. These are some general guidelines because this will have to be altered and catered to your own personal preference. Because each student is different. We're not all the same. That's it. So peace out.